Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will discuss the structure of neurons and the neuroglial cells in the nervous tissue. This lecture is for BS nursing students. So the nervous tissue, also called the nerve tissue or neural tissue consists of two main components, that is the nerve cells or neurons, which form the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. Now these cells possesses the special physiological properties of excitability and conductivity. So these are the neurons. These are the basic functional units of the nervous tissue. And second is the neuroglial or supporting cells, which protect, nourish, and maintain the nerve cells and their processes, but are themselves non-excitable and non-conducting. Now, in the central nervous system, the supporting cells they are known as neuroglia. The neuroglia, they comprises three categories of cells: astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, microglial cells. We will discuss them later on. And the supporting cells which occur in the peripheral nervous system, which are in relation to the nerve fiber, are the Schwann cells, and related to the ganglia are the satellite cells. So these cell types are present in the nervous tissue and they have their specific functions. So in histology, the function always relate to the structure, or the structure always relate to the function. So the neuron differ from other cell bodies in having the following special properties. As I have told you before, the property of excitability, that is the ability to respond to physical or chemical stimuli by generating an electrical impulse, and conductivity, that is the ability to conduct the electrical impulse to other parts of the nervous system. Now, these are the basically functions of the neurons, and for these functions, the neuron should have a typical structure to perform this function. Now, a neuron consists of a cell body. Here you can see this is the cell body like the other cells. It has got a cell body, and then there are processes, various processes. This is one process, this is another process. The cell body contains the nucleus and the most of the cell organelles. Now this cell body contains the nucleus and the other organelles which perform different functions. The processes, also called the neurites, form the most characteristic feature of the neurons. The neurites are of two types. Now axons and dendrites. You can see here the dendrites and an axon. Now each neuron bears only one axon, which is usually a long process that carry the nerve impulse away from the nerve cell body. So nerve impulse go away from the cell body, and the axon may or may not be branched. So here you can see a branched axon. The axon and its branches end in a specialized dilated terminals which make the synaptic junctions with another neuron or an effector cell, which may be a muscle or a glandular epithelial cell. So these are the synaptic terminals. The dendrites are generally short process. You can see here the dendrites, they are short process and which usually branch close to the cell body like the branches of a tree. So in Greek, the dendron means a tree and dendrite implies tree-like. The dendrites receive impulses from other neurons and convey them to the cell body. Now, neurons, they belong to the static variety of cell population and they do not divide mitotically. Postnatal increase in size of brain and spinal cord occurs by mitotic divisions of the neuroglial cells. Nerve cell body. The nerve cell body, also known as soma or perikaryon, contains the nucleus and the cytoplasm. It's, it primarily serves as a nourishing center for the neuron and supplies organelles and macromolecules to the cell processes. The nerve cell soma is also receptive to excitatory or inhibitory stimuli which are generated by other neurons and conveyed it by the axon terminals of these cells. The perikaryon vary considerably in size and may be as small as 4 micrometer in diameter. For example, this is present in the those of the granular cells of the cerebellar cortex. They are very small cells, granule cells of the cerebellar cortex. They are very small cells. They are of 4 micrometer in diameter or as large as 135 micrometer for example, in the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord. The shape of the perikaryon depends upon the number and orientation of cell processes. The perikaryon of the perikarya of the unipolar neurons are usually globular, and those of bipolar neurons are generally elongated or fusiform. I will show you in the coming slides. And those of the multipolar neurons, the cell bodies may be stellate, pyramidal or spherical in shape. So this is a multipolar neuron shown here, and you can see the cell body pyramidal or spherical in shape. Most nerve cells contain a single large pale staining vesicular nucleus which is spherical in shape and central in position. The characteristic vesicular appearance of nucleus indicates that it contains large amount of euchromatin. Now, by this time, you know what is euchromatin, and presence of abundant euchromatin in the nuclei of neurons is indicative of very active protein synthesis in the cytoplasm of these cells. The nucleus of neuron contains relatively large, deeply basophilic nucleolus which appear particularly prominent in the pale staining nuclei. So here the nuclei is not prominent, but you can see the nucleus and it is centrally placed in the cell body of a multicellular neuron. So these are the various nuclei of the neurons shown here. You can see here in this picture a pale staining nucleus with prominent nucleoli and pale staining. Now you know why the nucleus is pale staining, because these cells are actively involved in protein synthesis. Here you can also see another nucleus pale staining with dark nucleoli. Now, the cytoplasm of the perikaryon contains organelles, inclusions, and elements of the cytoskeleton. The most conspicuous organelle of the cytoplasm of the neuron is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now, abundant rough endoplasmic reticulum and free ribosomes are also present in large numbers. Abundance of rough endoplasmic reticulum and free ribosomes correlates with the active protein synthesis occurring in the perikaryons. The synthesized proteins are meant for the local use as well as for transport across the axon. In stained sections examined under light microscope, the abundant rough endoplasmic reticulum and free polysomes they appear as clumps of basophilic material known as Nissl substance. So they appear as Nissl substance, dark basophilic substances in the cytoplasm of the neuron. They are known as Nissl substance, and they are the clumps of abundant rough endoplasmic reticulum and free polysomes. They are also known as chromatophilic substance or Nissl bodies. The amount of Nissl substance in a neuron depends upon its type and functional state. It is more abundant in large-sized motor neurons. The nerve cell soma also contains smooth endoplasmic reticulum, numerous mitochondria, abundant lysosomes, and a large Golgi apparatus. The well-developed Golgi apparatus correlates with the requirements of packaging of the huge amount of proteins being synthesized in the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The large number of lysosomes correlates with high turnover of cell membrane and other cell components. Now the inclusions present in the cytoplasm of the neurons are the granules of lipofucsin pigment. Lipofucsin pigment. Lipofucsin pigment, which occurs in the form of yellowish brown granules. This pigment represents the remnants of the lysosomal activity, and its amount increases with age. See the lipofucsin granules in the yellow colored granules in the neurons, cytoplasm of the neurons. So these are lipofuscin granules, and they are present in older neurons. Skeleton of the neuron of the nerve cells consists of neurofilaments and microtubules, which are randomly scattered in the cytoplasm. So they consist of neurofilaments and the microtubules. The neurofilaments are intermediate filaments having an average diameter of 10 micrometers. So these are the neurofilaments shown in the pink one. So they have diameter of about 10 micrometers. As such, the neurofilaments are not visible under light microscope, but under the effects of chemicals used for tissue fixation, these filaments become aggregated to form bundles. These neurofilament bundles, called the neurofibrils, can be seen under light microscope when appropriate staining techniques, for example, silver impregnation, are used. The microtubules form an important component of the cytoskeleton of the neuronal cytoplasm. They also enter into the axon and run along it the whole length. The microtubules play an important role in the transport of proteins and other materials from one region of neuron to the other region. The dendrites of the neurons. The dendrites are afferent processes of the neuron, and they branch repeatedly like the branch of a tree. You can see here they are branching repeatedly, which serve to increase the receptive area of the cell and enable one neuron to synapse with a large number of axonal terminals from other neurons. The dendrites contain nearly all the components of the neuronal cytoplasm except the Golgi apparatus. The outer surface of the dendrite shows numerous small knob-like projections called the dendritic spine. You can see here this is the outer surface of the dendrite and knob-like projections are there. The dendritic spines are the sites where the synapses occur on a dendrite. Here you can see the synapses from another axon is occurring on the dendrite. Axon of the neuron, each neuron has a single axon, which is efferent process of the nerve cell and serves to transmit stimuli to other neurons or to the effector cells. The axon originates from perikaryon. You can see here it is originating from the perikaryon, that is the cell body, and the Axon originates from the perikaryon at a short pyramidal shaped region known as axon hillock. So this is the short pyramidal region known as axon hillock. Axon hillock. Unlike the dendrites, the axons usually have smooth contour and a uniform diameter. Also, the neurons are generally larger. They are generally longer and straighter and thinner than the dendrites. Axons vary from less than a micrometer to several micrometers in diameter and from fraction of a millimeter to more than a meter in length. The cytoplasm of the axon is referred to as exoplasm and its plasma lemma as exolemma. Now, the exoplasm of the neuron, this axon, it contains mitochondria, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, microtubules, and neurofilaments. So, the cytoplasm of axon, it contains mitochondria, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, microtubules, and neurofilaments. Neurofilaments. No lethal substance is seen in the axon, stating that no rough endoplasmic reticulum or free ribosomes are present in the axon. No lethal substance. Lethal substance. In contrast to the dendrites, the axons generally have a uniform diameter and do not branch profusely. Along its course, an axon often gives side branches known as collateral branches or simply the collaterals, which leave the axon nearly at right angles. Axons usually end by dividing into a number of terminal branches, thus phylodendria. These are the branches that are known as phylodendria. Phylodendria. The axon collaterals and phylodendria generally terminate as small knob-like extensions which are called buttons. These buttons are usually applied to the peripheria or dendrites of the adjoining neurons to form the synaptic junction. These are the synaptic buttons. In addition to conduction of impulses, an important function of axon is axonal transport, which occurs along the mitochondria, microtubules. As a result of this transport, movement of materials occurs between the perikaryon and the axon. Now, the transport from the perikaryon to the axon terminal is called anterograde transport, whereas the transport in the reverse direction is known as retrograde. So, towards the cell body is the retrograde, and from the perikaryon to the terminal axon is anterograde. As a result of anterograde transport, proteins, lipids, mitochondria, and synaptic vesicles are transported from the stemma into the axon. A continuous supply of lipids and proteins is essential for the maintenance of normal structure of the exolemma. Retrograde transport. What the retrograde transport? It transports from the axon terminals to the cell body. Transports it transports the damaged membrane contents and worn out mitochondria back to the perikerion for the final disposal. Macromolecular material endocytosed by the axons by, for example, various viruses and toxins, or also conveyed to the nerve cell soma by retrograde transport. Differences between axon and dendrites are the axon are the simple, long, thin processes, terminates away from the cell body, and they rarely branches, uniform diameter, they have smooth outer surface, they are free of missile bodies, and the nerve impulses, they travel away from the cell body. While dendrites are multiple, short, thick, tapering processes. They terminate near the cell body. Highly branching. Dendrites are highly branching and they are like a tree. Their thickness reduces as they divide and their surface is not smooth. What they contain? The dendritic spines. And they also contain the nasal bodies and nerve impulses travel towards the cell body. Of the neurons. How many types of neurons are there? Now, so first of all, the morphological classification, depending upon the size and shape, they are classified according to a number of process into the following three categories. Now, the shape of the neuron, that is how many processes they have got, and depending upon this, they are divided into three categories: unipolar, bipolar and multipolar. Unipolar, bipolar and multipolar. Now unipolar neurons, these cells also known as pseudo-unipolar neurons, possesses a single process which divides into two branches in a T-shaped manner. Here you can see this is the cell body. A single axon is exiting and then dividing into two, a short distance away from the perikaryon. One of these branches passes towards the periphery and they function as dendrite, while the other branch passes towards the CNS as an axon. Unipolar neurons are found in the dorsal root ganglia of the spinal nerves and sensory ganglia of the cranial nerves. So these unipolar neurons are present in the sensory ganglia, whether they are the dorsal root ganglia or the cranial nerve ganglia. Bipolar neurons, these cells bear a single axon and a single dendrite. So these are the bipolar neurons and they bear a single axon and a single dendrite which emerge from the opposite pole of the spindle shaped cell body. So the cell body is also oval, spindle shaped, and one axon and one dendrite arises from the opposite poles. Neurons of this variety are found in cochlear and vestibular ganglia, in retina and olfactory epithelium. So in retina, in cochlear and vestibular ganglia and in olfactory epithelium. Now the multipolar neurons. These cells have a single axon and a number of dendrites arising directly from the cell body. So a single axon and multiple dendrites directly arising from the cell body. Most neurons of the human body belong to the multipolar variety. Some of the examples are pyramidal cells of the cerebral cortex. They are known as pyramidal cells, and the Purkinje cells of the cerebellar cortex and anterior horn cells of the spinal cord. So these are the neurons depend according to the morphology, shape and size of the processes. Classification of neurons according to their function now. We have got sensory neurons. These cells receive sensory stimuli from the environment or from the tissues and organs of the body and pass them on to the CNS. Then the motor neurons. These neurons convey impulses from the CNS or ganglia to the effector cells And the effector cells may be the muscle or the gland cells or to the other neurons. Interneurons, so depending upon the function. So sensory neuron has got the function of receiving the sensory stimuli, while motor neuron has got the function of conveying impulses to the or effector organs. And interneurons, these neurons are located completely in the CNS, central nervous system. They form communicating and integrating circuits between sensory and motor neurons and other interneurons. Almost 99.9% of the neurons in the central nervous system are the interneurons. The neuroglia or neuroglial cells. Now, as I have told you before, these are the supporting cells of the central nervous system, and they are known as neuroglia or simply glial cells. The neuroglial cells cannot generate action potentials, and their main function is to provide mechanical and metabolic support to the neurons. The neuroglia is considered to be essential for the maintenance and viability of the neurons. The number of neuroglial cells is about 10 times more than that of the neurons. The neuroglia cannot be studied properly in sections stained by routine H&E technique, which only stains their nuclei, that is, nuclei of the neuroglial cells, which are generally smaller than those of the neurons. The neuroglia is best studied by special staining techniques like silver or gold impregnation, which demonstrates the glial cells along their process. Now, the neuroglial cells, they are which are found in the CNS are the oligodendrocytes, astrocytes, ependymal cells, and microglial cells. While in the peripheral nervous system, they are the Schwann cells and satellite cells which are present in the ganglia. The astroglial cells. The astroglia consists of cells called the astrocytes. The astrocytes are star-shaped cells with many branching processes. Aster in Greek language means the star. The astrocytes are largest and most numerous of the glial cells and they are collectively known as astroglia. They have large, centrally located spherical nuclei that stain lightly due to their vesicular nature. Now these are the, you can see here, large vesicular nucleus. They have got large vesicular nuclei. Cytoplasm of an astrocyte contain the Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, few ribosomes, and a small amount of rough endoplasmic reticulum. A special feature of cytoplasm is the presence of bundles of intermediate filaments which extend into the process. These intermediate filaments are composed of glial fibrillary acid proteins, which is unique to the astrocytes. Now, some of the cytoplasmic process of astrocytes, they end in small extensions called the perivascular end feet, which are applied to the walls of the blood capillaries. So here you can see processes of astrocytes also extend to the surface of the brain and spinal cord, forming a layer beneath the pia mater. Astrocytes, they are further classified into two subtypes, the protoplasmic astrocytes and the fibrous astrocytes. The protoplasmic astrocytes, they are found in gray matter of the spinal cord, gray matter of the brain and spinal cord. So what is gray matter? The nuclei, the neurons, where the neurons are present, the collection of neurons, it is the gray matter of the spinal cord. So they are found in relation to the gray matter of the brain and spinal cord. Their processes are generally short and thicker but branch extensively. Most of these processes expand at their distal end to envelop the neuronal surfaces and synaptic areas, while others terminate on the blood capillaries as dilated perivascular end feet. The protoplasmic astrocytes lying on the surface of the brain and spinal cord send some of their process towards the pia mater. These processes reach the pia mater and terminate in expansions called the subpial feet. The subpial feet of the adjacent protoplasmic astrocytes join with each other to form a membrane known as glial limiting membrane or glia limitans. The pia mater and the underlying glia limitans together form a relatively impermeable barrier that separates the neurons of the central nervous system from the CSF in the subarachnoid space. Now, the fibrous astrocytes are found in the white matter of the brain. So, these fibrous astrocytes are present in the white matter of the brain and spinal cord. So, what is the white matter? In which axons are present. Only axons are present here, some with some of the supporting cells. So this is the white matter, and fibrous astrocytes are present in the white matter of the brain and spinal cord. As compared to the protoplasmic astrocytes, the fibrous astrocytes have fewer processes which branch infrequently. So you can see the comparison. The protoplasmic astrocytes branch profusely, while the fibrous astrocyte, they have fewer processes which branch infrequently and are thinner and straighter and longer. Some process of the fibrous astrocytes, they terminate on the blood capillaries as perivascular end feet. As compared to the protoplasmic astrocytes, the cytoplasm of the fibrous astrocytes, they contain a much higher number of intermediate filaments. So, as I have told you before, now we will do the functions of the astrocytes. The astrocytes, they regulate the passage of nutrients and metabolites between the blood and the neurons. Their perivascular end feet, now shown here, these are the protoplasmic astrocytes, and these are the fibrous astrocytes, and these are the perivascular end feet. Now, especially the concentration of potassium ions which are released into the extracellular space as a result of neuronal activity. The plasma membrane of the astrocytes contained abundant potassium channels through which the potassium ion passes from the extracellular space surrounding the neuron into the cytoplasm of the astrocytes, thus buffering of the potassium ion occurs, and microenvironment around the neurons is kept in optimal condition, which allow the neurons to function normally. Now, the astrocytes and their perivascular feet play an important role in maintaining the blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier. And the astrocytes, especially the fibrous astrocytes, they perform the formation of a scar tissue in the damaged area of the CNS. Such scars are known as glial scars. So, scar tissue in the CNS is formed by the astrocytes, especially the fibrous astrocytes. So, three important functions of the astrocytes. One is to maintain the external environment of the neuron. Number two is the maintenance of the blood brain barrier. And number three is the formation of scar. The oligodendroglia, the oligodendrocytes, they consist of the oligodendroglia, they consist of oligodendrocytes. As compared to the astrocytes, the oligodendrocytes have smaller pericardia. You can see here the oligodendrocyte, they have small cell bodies and smaller and denser nuclei and fewer and shorter processes, termed as oligodendrocytes. So oligodendrocytes, also known as the a cell with few branches, oligodendrocyte, cell with few branches. The oligodendrocytes are found in both gray and white matter of the central nervous system. They are very abundant in the white matter, where they are often located in rows of cells between the neuronal processes. These oligodendrocytes are called the intrafascicular oligodendroglia. The intrafascicular oligodendroglia are involved in the formation and maintenance of the myelin around the axons. Now, in the gray matter, the oligodendrocytes are found in the vicinity of the neurons. These oligodendrocytes are termed as perineural satellite cells. And the cell bodies of the oligodendrocytes are usually located near the blood capillaries, but they do not have a perivascular feet. So the functions of the oligodendroglial cells or the oligodendrocytes. In the infants and children, the intrafascicular oligodendrocytes form myelin sheath around those axons in the CNS which are to be myelinated. In the adults, these cells serve to maintain the myelin sheaths around the myelinated nerve fibers of the central nervous system. Now, in addition, these cells provide trophic support to the unmyelinated nerve fibers, naked axons of the CNS, as these axons run in cleft and grooves formed by the invagination of the plasma lemma of the oligodendrocytes. Now, research has revealed that oligodendrocytes secrete a number of neutrophins which provide local trophic support for the neuron. These neutrophins include nerve growth factor, brain-derived neurotropic factor, and neurotrophin 3. Schwann cells, the Schwann cells are analog to the oligodendrocytes, and but they produce myelin sheath in the peripheral nervous system. So oligodendrocytes are present in the central nervous system, while the Schwann cells are present in the peripheral nervous system. The microglia. This variety of neuroglia consists of small elongated cells, each having a darkly stained rod-shaped nucleus, and the microglial cells have delicate tortuous processes which bear small spines. So you can see here they have got delicate tortuous processes and which bear spines. These cells are found both in the gray matter and white matter and are often seen to be present in relation to blood vessels. Now, what are the functions of these microglial cells? The microglial cells are the resident macrophages of the brain and spinal cord. So, what are macrophages? They phagocytose the unwanted particulate matter and like the macrophages elsewhere, their function is the phagocytosis of the unwanted particulate matter, and they are regarded to be representative of the mononuclear phagocyte system in the CNS. Whenever the nervous tissue of the CNS is invaded by bacteria or other microorganisms, the microglial cells quickly move to the site of infection and phagocytose the invading microorganisms. They also engulf the debris of the damaged neurons and the neuroglial cells. Being phagocytic in function, the microglial cells also act as antigen presenting cells to activate the T lymphocytes. The microglial cells also secrete many types of immunosecretory cytokines. Ependymal cells. The ependymal cells are cuboidal or low columnar cells. You can see here cuboidal or low columnar cells that form an epithelium-like lining of the ventricles of the brain and the central canal of the spinal cord. This lining is called ependyma. The ependyma lacks a basal lamina, and the basal cells of the ependymal cells send branching process into the adjacent white matter. Basal ends of the ependymal cells, they send branching process into the adjacent white matter. The ependymal cells are tightly bound together by junctional complexes. Apical surface of these cells, they bear the kynocelia or the microvilli, and the microvilli rhythmic beating of the kynocelia and ensures directional flow of the CSF. Presence of microvilli on the apical surface increases the surface area and facilitates the absorption of CSF by the ependymal cells so that the CSF content, especially the sodium, potassium and chloride, can be transferred to the neural tissue to ensure optimum activity of the neurons.